Recently, Jimmy Butler has paved his way to being one of the best players in the sport. But what may get lost in his 30 and 40-point playoff games is just how otherworldly his defense is. Just how good is Jimmy on defense? Why is he so good? And ultimately, is he the best non-big defender on the planet? Jimmy's hands, timing, and strength are what have made him one of the best defenders on the planet with having a lackluster wingspan. Look at how textbook this defense on Harden is, using your inside hand to resist the downward momentum of said offensive player, and then using your other hand to present a vertical challenge to the offensive player when he releases the ball. Here, it leads in a block. Another example of his technical prowess is what Jimmy is able to do here. Here, Butler is decelerating to be able to navigate this screen. Whatever separation Middleton is able to create here, Butler is able to close the gap in a short amount of time. Butler is able to make sure that his inside arm is making contact with Middleton, so he's able to keep contact and control where Middleton is going. Take note of Jimmy and Middleton's legs here. Jimmy is matching Middleton stride for stride so he can time up the vertical contest or the potential swipe down. Here, Butler not having the longest wingspan is probably the only reason this wasn't a clean block. Take this play against Malcolm Brogdon in the bubble, for example. The initial dig forces Brogdon to pick up his dribble, and a couple of pump fakes later, you're able to realize just how patient Jimmy is as a defender in these areas. Jimmy so rarely falls for these little pump fakes like the one Brogdon sent, and because of that, he's able to vertically contest on plays like these. Jimmy's strength and physicality present issues as a man defender as well. Take this play against Jason Tatum, also in the bubble. The initial bump knocks Tatum off of his spot, and from there, it develops into a post play where Tatum never really creates much separation from Jimmy. Jimmy's ability to be more conservative with his foot patterns is another thing that makes possession like these harder. On the Tatum pump fake, Jimmy's outside foot is moving towards the right, but he doesn't take himself out of the play. He doesn't commit too hard on his pivot. And then, because of that, he's in turn able to react to the play quicker. Jimmy uses this initial contest as kind of a blinder, making sure that a hand is in front of Tatum before he begins his shooting motion, while the second contest is more of an actual vertical contest. Jimmy's core strength last year in the playoffs also provided issues to whom many may consider one of the strongest players in the NBA, in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Here, Jimmy is using his chest to throw off Giannis from his spot, and because of where he's stationed, he's able to generate enough power from his lower body to stay stationary. There's not too many non-bigs in the league who can contend with Giannis's raw strength, and Jimmy happens to have his name written on that short list. But he also managed to outsmart the Greek Freak a couple of times in this game. Here, Jimmy is very conscious about some of Antetokounmpo's footwork issues within the post. Oftentimes on Giannis's post looks, he's leaning in with his back foot to generate power. Jimmy, being aware of this, moves out of the way so Antetokounmpo can fly into empty space, and in turn this leads to an off-platform layup, which Giannis blanks. Jimmy's expertise as a man defender is incredibly impressive, but what is even more impressive is just how good Jimmy is off ball. Take this play against Boston in the 2022 playoffs, for example. Here, out of the pick and roll, Tatum is eyeing the corner in an attempt to manipulate Jimmy and make a chest pass to Jimmy's man. But instead of reading where Tatum's eyes is going, Jimmy is always reading where the ball is going to potentially go. In turn, that leads to a Jimmy interception, and boom, pick six to the house. All of the best off-ball defenders on the planet are very good at denying manipulation or not being manipulated, but very few players ever are the manipulators that Jimmy Butler is on the defensive end. For example, here's a play against Boston in the playoffs again. Here, Jimmy realizes that Boston is getting ready to set up action with Rob Will, and he ever so slightly slides towards Rob Will as the play begins. Once the play begins, a creeping Jimmy Butler is able to manage another steal. Oftentimes, when put in positions as a tagger, Jimmy is able to manipulate ball handlers into basically feeding him steals. Take this play against Brandon Ingram, for example. Jimmy makes a tag on Valanciunas and in turn is leaving his man open in his position. And because of that, in most cases, this is a simple pass to Jimmy's man. But because Jimmy is aware that Ingram is likely making this pass, and because Jimmy has the recovery speed to cover set ground, it ends up in a steal. Another example of this is what Jimmy did to the Celtics last year. Here, Jimmy is tagging on Tice from the strong side, and in turn is leaving his man wide open in the corner. Jaylen Brown is aware of that and likely thinks that this is an easy skip pass to the corner. A combination of elite recovery speed and likely the best hands in the entire league leads to this interception. It's plays like this that truly make me believe that Jimmy Butler played corner in high school. Jimmy also has some very disruptive help tendencies. Here against Milwaukee, Jimmy is guarding Bobby Portis in a dunker spot. Here, after PJ Tucker loses Drew Holiday on a slip, Jimmy eyes Chris Middleton, and as soon as Chris Middleton begins his passing motion, Jimmy is timing that up with his motion to peel off a Portis towards Drew. In what seems automated, Jimmy's reaction leads to a block. This all-time great reaction speed is what makes him one of the best players ever at handling advantages. Take this 4-on-3 against the Blazers, for example. Here, the Heat are hedging a Damian Lillard ball screen, and in turn has Jimmy make up the difference between two players. A Dame ball fake has Jimmy racing towards Rocco, and in turn, Lillard attempts to skip it towards CJ McCollum. Jimmy's insane ball targeting allows him to grab this out the air mid-jump. Another example of Jimmy's ability to handle advantages is here in transition against the Hornets. Dwayne Dedmon, PJ Washington's man here, is lagging behind after a miss. Poor PJ Washington probably thinks he has an easy bucket at the basket, but Jimmy is racing weak side. PJ makes the catch, but boom, like magic, the ball is gone almost immediately. Jimmy's prowess as a help defender also extends to what he does around the nail or the free throw line. Take this play against the Pelicans, for example. On Josh Hart penetration, Jimmy goes from just above the break to above the nail. And then on this dig, Jimmy absolutely rips Josh Hart. Another example of Jimmy's prowess at the nail is what he did this season to the Spurs. Jimmy's initial dig at the nail closes up a driving lane that the Spurs player was looking to get through. In turn, said player thinks that it is a good option to kick out to who Jimmy is helping off of. But Jimmy manages to get his hands on this ball and boom, it's a pick six. All of these things in combination are what make Jimmy one of the best defenders on the planet. And Jimmy is far from a perfect defender. Sometimes his closeouts are a little wonky, like this play. And sometimes gambling in the passing lanes has him looking a little aloof. But those are the mistakes that are bound to happen when you're as aggressive as Jimmy Butler, and his aggression has led to basically more event creation than anyone in the league. Just this postseason alone, Jimmy Butler ranked first in steals and fourth in deflections. And while those aren't perfect indicators of defense, they do indicate that Jimmy gets his hands on balls often and a lot. Jimmy is a ball hog, but that's clearly not all he is. He's also one of the most versatile man defenders in the sport. And in turn, that combined package makes me very confident that there's a clear argument that among non-bigs, Jimmy Butler may be the best defender on the planet.